It was like a demonic rodent with shorts and a hat. Maybe it wants some cheese.
I said we toss his ass overboard. Our world is fucked. Willie's world? It's the happiest place on earth.
Welcome back to the Nerdy Grail, and yes, as you can see behind me, I've got my Twisted Childhood Universe movies and Popeye's Revenge behind me, which can only mean one thing. We are diving into another weird and wacky and twisted childhood movie or icon that has been turned into a twisted movie. And I've also got my Terrifier Free and my Terrifier Bloody Duo on Blu-ray here, because they are actually linked to the movie that we are going to be unboxing and reviewing in this video in some way. And I will show you what that is right now, because today I had a parcel which came through from HMV, which we are going to unbox right now. What is that movie? Well, if you've seen the thumbnail and you've seen the opening clip, you know that I am going to be unboxing Screamboat on Blu-ray. So we're going to jump straight into this. Pull the tag straight off. Oh, I messed that right up. So if I open up the box, there we go. I did order this from HMV. So put the box to one side. And yes, there we go. There is the Blu-ray of Screamboat, which I did order from HMV, which looks really, really interesting. So there is the front. There is the spine, which simply says Screamboat, rated 18. And then there is the back. Now this is that long-awaited Mickey Mouse style horror movie, but actually it's not Mickey Mouse. It's more based on the original character of Steamboat Willie in particular. But, you know, that's basically what Mickey Mouse ended up becoming. But there is the back, which contains a few special features. Well, one major bonus feature, David Howard Thornton is Steamboat Willie. Now, if that name is familiar, that is because he is also the person who plays Art the Clown in Terrifier, which is exactly why I said that Terrifier is relevant for this movie. But let's use my handy-dandy scissors to take it out of the shrink wrap so that we can get a better look at the Blu-ray inside. Now, yeah, I've done plenty of reviews on these weird and wacky childhood films, so if you want to check any of those out, feel free. I obviously did a review on Popeye's Revenge. I've also done a review on Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, where I also did unboxings of the Blu-rays and the movies of those. But also I did a discussion on the Twisted Childhood universe as a whole, so feel free to check that out as well. But there is the Blu-ray free from the shrink wrap. And at the top there, it says, Gremlins on Crack, says the Hollywood News. And what I find quite interesting about this artwork here is you've got the big steamboat in the background. You've got Mickey Mouse, well, Steamboat Willie, played by David Howard Thornton on there. You've got what looks like Cinderella's crystal slipper covered in blood by here. And his, what is it, a sword or a knife? You got a knife by there. And as you can see, it's almost like that little shooting star thing that goes over the Disney logo. So it's almost like paying homage to that in some twisted way. And then by here, which is also the link, it says it's from the producers of Terrifier 3, which again is why I said these films are relevant. But yeah, there then again is the spine Screamboat. And then there is the back with some pictures, and you can pause that if you wish to read the description of the movie. But I will read it to you here as well. So, it's full scream ahead in a big apple as one killer mouse turns a late night ferry ride into a bloodbath. Prepare for carnage as David Howard Thornton, Art the Clown in Terrifier, wages war on unsuspecting passengers as Willie the Mouse takes creative license on an incredibly inventive killing spree. In some cases, size matters. For Willie, it's all about what you do with it that counts. And it's rated 18 because it has strong bloody violence, gore, and sexualized violence as well. So if we open up the Blu-ray, as you can see, just a singular disc on the inside. take the disc out. That is what the disc looks like. Screamboat, rated 18. So I put that away. There's a full wraparound of the Blu-ray artwork, which I actually quite like the artwork, surprisingly. Really, really nice detail. But obviously, I have not watched this movie, but you know how it works. Like I did for Popeye's Revenge, and like I did for Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, I'll just snap my fingers, and what will be literally about 2 seconds for you will be about an hour and a half or so for me as I watch the movie, and when I come back, I will give you my initial thoughts on the movie and say whether it's good, whether it's bad, and how it sort of ranks amongst all these weird, twisted childhood movies. So, let me pause the video, let me go and watch Screamboat, and get ready for my review on the movie Screamboat. Okay, so I have just come back from watching Screamboat, the latest movie in, not the Twisted Childhood universe, but the latest movie to come out that features a childhood character or beloved icon that has been turned into a weird, twisted horror movie. Now, this isn't based on Mickey Mouse per se, it's based on the old 1928 Steamboat Willie short film cartoon, and they really hammer that home in this movie. Look, it's a really weird movie. I don't really know how best to describe it, if I'm being perfectly honest. It's better than Popeye's Revenge, but is it as good as some of the later Twisted Childhood universe movies like Blood and Honey 2 and Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare? Personally, no. It starts off with, promising enough and an intriguing concept, really. There's a lot of heavy Disney references in this, to be honest. From subtle music compositions to constantly using catchphrases or throwing in words that are really Disney related. Like towards the end, they use one of the main core children is thrown into the water and is like paddling to safety, and our core character or protagonist Selena tells the kid to just keep swimming, in reference to Finding Nemo. They got subtle little words and little phrases like that all throughout. There's characters that are dressed in strangely Disney garb, like there's a guy on the Staten Island ferry, because this whole film takes place on the Staten Island ferry, where he is dressed in like a light green t-shirt, dark green shorts, and has a cycling helmet on that's green and has a red stripe in it. He's meant to be referencing Peter Pan. I know he is. But what I also find quite interesting is not only does it all take place on the Staten Island ferry, but you follow this group of girls to start with for the first half of the movie, and then they get killed off one by one as the film goes on, who are definitely supposed to be rip-off or drunken because they are on like a hen party or a birthday party. I think it's a birthday party, actually. They are supposed to be references to Disney princesses, and I had to write down what their names were because I completely forgot. But we've got the characters of Cindy, Jazzy, Bella, Ariana, and Rory, and they are supposed to be referencing Cinderella, Jasmine from Aladdin, Belle from Beauty and the Beast, Ariel from The Little Mermaid, and Aurora from Sleeping Beauty. And yeah, you can tell by the subtle things that they're wearing and some of the phrases they use. Yeah, but they pretty much all get killed off in this movie as well. As for David Howard Thornton as Steamboat Willie or Willie, he's pretty good. I didn't expect him to be short, and I don't know why, considering he's supposed to be a mouse. But it's just when the trailers made him out to be like the same size as the people, and in movies like this, you sort of anticipate that they're going to go down that route. But no, he was actually, like mouse size. He was no taller than most of their knees, really, which was, pretty interesting, and it made for some interesting kills, which you can definitely see where the Terrifier element comes into play, because some of them are pretty gruesome, although I will say the effects are a little bit iffy at times. They don't always look top class. They do look a little bit cheap at times. Some of the lighting choices and the directing, is all over the place. Some bits seem alright, other bits seem a bit almost teetering into Popeye's Revenge territory. I would say it's probably, you know, if I was to compare this to Popeye's Revenge, it's definitely better than Popeye's Revenge in terms of, you know, the acting, you know, the audio quality. You know, it has a much better and more cohesive plot. It even has a post-credit scene at the end of this movie, because obviously Willie does get defeated and he is then thrown overboard. But he lands on like a dump ship. But while he's there, he bumps into what we can see looks like a Minnie Mouse version of him. So they're obviously setting up a potential sequel with maybe the two of them teaming up, which, you know, that'll be interesting to say the least. I will say, though, the pacing of this movie is off. I really got bored after about halfway through the movie. It started off promising and decently paced, but then it just felt like a slog fest, if I'm being perfectly honest. And you can tell when watching it, when they were definitely trying to just pad it out again and again and again. And it wasn't the greatest. And your core characters that you follow aren't the most interesting. And like I said, all the little Disney references do get a bit forced and annoying. And for some reason, they decide to make Willie like practically in love with the core woman, Selena, who he's also trying to kill at the same time. It's really weird. What I will say is a nice touch. They do actually show like footage and like a cartoon animation style of the original Steamboat Willie, which looks pretty cool actually, I must admit, saying that Walt had rescued him from a cage and they became the best of friends, but then during a tragic boat accident, Walt fell overboard, and it's all about Steamboat Willie who trying to find him again and avenge his death if he can't. So, you know, interesting concept for a film, but yeah, it's not the best. If I was to give this a rating out of 10, to be perfectly honest, I gave Popeye's Revenge, I'm fairly certain, a 2 out of 10. It's definitely better than that, but I wouldn't say it's quite up to the levels of the Poonaverse movies, which I give fairly varied scores out of 10. I think for Steamboat, I'm going to give this a 4 out of 10, if I'm perfectly honest, and I think 4 out of 10 is pretty generous. And that's just because there is some mild entertainment. I do love the whistling that he does, you know, a little bit of an homage to the original tune from Steamboat Willie cartoon. So, you know, for the material, it is nice, and they do pay good homage to it. But it's not the best movie, if I'm perfectly honest. It's okay, but will I watch it again anytime soon? Probably not. But that is going to be my review and my Blu-ray unboxing of Screamboat. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, please like it by giving it a thumbs up and comment down below. Have you seen Screamboat? Have you picked up the Blu-ray? What are your thoughts? And subscribe if you are new. But for now, this is the Nerdy Grail signing off. I hope you've had an amazing day, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye for now, everyone.